able to get that picture, I'm going to go ahead now and start working with the actual Photopea problem. If you had any problems getting that picture to save or anything, reach out to me through Remind. Email me. Remind's probably going to be the quickest way because I can get back to you. I can even make a little video of myself doing whatever you're having trouble with to kind of walk you through step by step. That's another good way to ask me questions too, is if you take your phone and you take a quick video of you trying to do whatever it is that you're struggling with, you can send me that through Remind, and I can watch that and kind of get a better idea of where you're struggling to be able to help you a little bit better. So anyway, let's go ahead and start working with Photopea. I said we're going to be coloring in a black and white photo. We have our black and white photo picked. It's saved most likely on your desktop. Again, if you're in a Chromebook, it might be in a little bit different spot. So we're going to go into this Photopea website. It is linked to the assignment in Google Classroom. And I'm going to go to Open from Computer. And I'm going to look on my desktop, again, PC, Mac, Chromebook, it's all going to be different ways you have to kind of navigate to wherever that photo is saved. But mine is here, and mine was called Three Stooges. So here's this picture that I have. I'll go ahead and open that up. And the beginning of this is actually kind of a review of what we did as school was ending. So, you know, getting started, this is going to feel a little bit different, but at least there's going to be some familiarity here, because it is something that we did kind of work on before. So what we're going to do is we're going to color this in. Now the way we're going to do it is with adjustment layers. You're going to have a bunch of these adjustment layers, they're called. To get to these, it's this black and white circle here, and you're going to pick the same one kind of over and over again, and it's going to be this very top choice here. It'll say, let me move myself here, color fill in this program. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to pick that top option, which I can't see, but you can see is color fill. It's going to cover up your whole screen here. The reason that's happening, here's the color, here's the mask. Now if you remember what a mask is, it's kind of what it sounds like it is. Where there's white, think of that like a window. Now this whole thing is white, so it's all one big window. We can see this red everywhere. Now instead of just having windows, we can also have walls. Walls are black. If we have a wall, we can't see through it. I wouldn't see this color, but because this is one big giant window, I can see this red everywhere. So what I want to do is I want to make this mask so that it's not white, but it's black everywhere. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command I. There we go. Now on a PC it would be Control I, or on a Chromebook same thing, it would be Control I. So that's going to invert that mask to make it totally black. And the other thing that I will do for you guys is in Google Classroom, I'm also going to have these keyboard shortcuts. So as I think of things, I'll keep adding to this sheet here. So Command/Control plus I inverts mask. So you'll see these things kind of located in here. This will be helpful for you, and again, this sheet will be located in Google Classroom. So let's go ahead now and kind of keep working here. So I have this thing, it's totally inverted black. I'm going to go to my paintbrush. And first thing I want to do is make sure that my colors are set to the default. So I'm going to hit D on my keyboard. That'll make my default colors black and white. So as I use my paintbrush, so I'm on my paintbrush tool here, it looks like this. I can right here adjust the hardness. So I'm going to lower that a little bit. The hardness, if you remember, is kind of how fuzzy is your brush. This is like a low hardness brush. This would be like a high hardness brush. So it'll just kind of make things fade in and out. So you have to play with that. So for now, I'm going to put that in the middle. As far as changing the size of this brush goes, I can do it from here. But I can also do it with the brackets next to the letter P on my keyboard. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make this brush a little bit bigger. There we go. Now I can kind of see that better. So I'm going to start coloring in on something. Let's say I'm going to work on, let's do Moe's, we'll do Curly's face for now. So I'm just going to start coloring some of this in a little bit here. And I'm not being too careful because if you remember, the nice thing with masks are I can go back as many times as I want and kind of fix this thing up. There is no kind of messing anything up permanently. So there we go. So I got some of that colored in. Again, I'm going to go back, clean that up. All right, next thing I want to do is pick roughly the color that I want. So I'm going to go to my little layers window here and click on this part. I'm going to double click on that. That'll pull up this properties menu, and here's where I can change my color fill. So I'm going to click on this, And again, I'm not going to be overly careful because I'll probably be changing this color a little bit after I do the next part. So I'm going to start playing around here. I'm just looking, I'm picking like a flesh tone color here. So I'm liking that for right now. Now here's what's important. I have to hit OK. I can't just hit this X because it won't save it. Alright, now obviously that looks terrible. So what I need to do now is I need to change the blending mode so that we can see through this color fill and onto our background. Now as I go through here, unlike Photoshop, as I hover over these, it doesn't give us a preview. So I have to actually click on these to kind of see what they're going to do. So that's what darken will do. Multiply is looking pretty good. So for skin tone, I know that I've gone through these before, and I think in this particular case for me, multiply is going to be kind of the best one. You can try other ones. They kind of, you know, actually that one looks pretty nice too, overlay. So you really kind of need to go through that list. Now once you pick the one that you think you want, and I think I'm going to go, let me take that and multiply and kind of compare them side to side. I kind of like overlay better. Now either way, once you pick the one that you want, for whatever color it is that you're doing, now every color is going to be a little bit different, so you kind of got to do this on a case-by-case basis. I'm going to go back and adjust that color that I picked. And we'll look at what that was in a second, where it said layer is not editable. So I'm going to again be on this part here. Here's the properties menu. I click on this, and I can fine-tune that color now. So to me, that's like a little bit maybe saturated. So I'm going to just kind of start playing around here until I pick what I think is a good kind of flesh tone for Curly. And the nice thing is I can go back and do this numerous times, and I'll probably need to do this with him and his face again. Once I see some more colors kind of around here, it'll get a little bit easier for me to figure out exactly what I want. I'm going to try that. Alright, so again, I got to hit OK. My instinct is hit this X. I can't do that. Alright, I'm going to name this one because, so I double-clicked on the name here and name it. You're going to end up with a whole bunch of these. So the more names that you have for these, kind of the easier it is. Now, you could, if there's more than one person in your picture, do the same kind of color on all the faces. It might look better though if you do separate colors for each face. I'm not saying they have to be drastically different, but people don't exactly have the exact same skin tone, so it's going to look kind of fake if they're all the same. Now going back to this thing showing me this error here. Layer is not editable. That's because I'm trying to use my brush tool, but I'm using it in the wrong spot. I'm using it on this part instead of on my mask. So remember, I can click on either part here. I have to have the mask clicked on. Now as I'm coloring, I got some of this on his fingers. So I'm going to hit X on my keyboard, and what that's going to do, if you look at your toolbar there on the left, is that flips my colors from white to black. So now as I paint, it's almost like an eraser. I'm erasing away that color. So what I would do is I would zoom in and kind of start working on Curly's face here. To zoom, I'm holding Alt or Option and using my mouse wheel. I can also hit Command or Control on a PC and plus and minus to zoom in and out. And there's also a zoom tool on the side there that you see in your toolbar. So if I color the wrong direction, you know, just kind of flip back and forth with X. And the nice thing that we did for ourselves in the beginning, we hit that D key, which set our colors to black and white for us. So that kind of made this part easier. And then what I would do is when I'm done this, let's say now I want to work on Larry's jacket here. So I'm going to do a new adjustment layer. So it was here. It was the top choice. I go to the mask. I invert it. Command I. On my color here, maybe I'll go like a dark blue this time. So I'm going to go over to this properties menu here, and I'm going to pick a dark blue color for now. And again, knowing I'm probably going to change this, I make sure I hit OK. I come over to the mask part, and I need to paint white onto this. And when I paint white, what that does is that almost like kind of puts a hole in the mask, like a window, so that I can see through to that blue color. After I get some of this painted, which you can see mine is kind of crawling here because I'm trying to record and do all these other things all at the same time. I'm going to change the blending mode. Now again, I can't just go with the same one that I did before because it's probably not going to work as well. So multiply looks pretty good there. And again, I know some of these just from kind of using them in the past. I got an idea which will work, which won't. But your best bet is probably just run through this list of these. They work in chunks. So like these ones near overlay are going to kind of work in similar fashion. So you might find some combination of things that you had no idea you thought you would like. And so I think I'm going to go with multiply for the sake of time here. And I'm going to go and now I'm going to change this color. That's way too bright for me. I'm looking for more like a gray. And I'm just looking at this part that I colored as I'm doing this here. And I'm not trying to put that much color in it, but I want it to be a little less saturated. I just want to barely have a little, yeah, I kind of like that, at least for now. And again, knowing that, I can come back and work on that as many times as I want. Once I pick the color, I can keep going here and just kind of keep coloring. And if you mess up, Control and Z if you really want to undo something, but you don't forget you can always just flip-flop the colors and color with black or white. If you hit the X, it'll kind of change it from you painting on the color to you erasing the color. Now, as you're working here, say you get to a point where you want to kind of stop for the day. What you would do is you would go to File, Save as PSD. And what that's going to do is that's going to put it probably into your Downloads folder. So my recommendation would be before you go too far in this project, try to save it and see if you can find that file. Now once you find it, again, if you're on a Chromebook, you're going to have to move that file to your drive. You can't have it in the Downloads folder because when you restart the Chromebook, that thing will be gone. If you're on a Mac or a PC and it downloads it, I would just figure out how to get to your Downloads folder on that computer. So, once you access that, I would drag that thing to your desktop. Then, when you go to work on this the next day, so let's say that, I know on a Mac I can just drag this here and there it is there. There's my downloads now moved to there. Alright, so let's say now I go and I want to open something. I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I have this saved, and I'm looking for the one that ends in PSD. I'm going to open that up. And then now it's basically I have 2 copies of this thing open, but here I am here right where I left off. So your goal at this point is to go ahead and kind of just get a picture completely colored in. Next week what we'll do is we'll finish this thing up. We'll do some detail work on the face. Now we did not get to that part on the original that we did in school, and maybe we'll start something else. We'll kind of see where we get this week, but your goal is to spend 2 hours working on this thing. For most of you, that might mean coloring the whole thing in. If you don't get it completely colored in at the end of the 2 hours, turn in what you have so I can see your progress, knowing that we're going to work on this more than the following week, kind of regardless whether or not you're done. Things that you don't want to color, be careful. Zoom in. Like you see I did Curly's eyes here, and they're the same color as the skin. Those are the kind of things you got to pick up on, and they will kind of look fake. Again, later when we do the detail work, maybe I'll do the color of his eye with that little detail thing. Some of you, though, may just make a bunch of these layers, and you might do the eyes that way. But basically, next week what we're going to do is the skin tones, the jacket, things like that. We're going to add highlights and shadows to those, and it's really going to make these pictures look that much better. If you have any questions, contact me through Remind is going to be your best bet because I'll get it instantly on my phone, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Otherwise email me, do whatever you can to help yourself out here. If for some reason you feel like you can't complete this assignment due to technology or whatever, you need to reach out to me, and we'll see if we can kind of solve those kind of problems together, or if we have to, we'll come up with some kind of alternative writing assignment or something if we need to. But I'd really prefer if you go this route. It's going to be a lot more interesting, and it also opens up the possibilities for a lot of new projects that we can do together. So take your time with this stuff. Good luck. Again, use me as a resource. Ask questions. Google is your best friend too with this. There's plenty of tutorials online showing you how to do these things. If you have something specific you want to know and you don't feel comfortable asking me for whatever reason, try Google. And then if that doesn't work out, ask me. That's what they pay me for. So please ask. Okay. Good luck.